Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lyndhurst Community News. Today is Wednesday, August 9th, 2023. And wow, August is flying by, isn't it? But doesn't it always? Always flies by. I feel like after July 4th, next thing you know, you blink and it's Labor Day. Anyway, I'm Brian Haggerty, and I'd like to welcome you to this week's episode. And here's what's happening around our township this week. And actually, it's quite a news week because many people do take their vacations early on in August. Because when they get back, they have to get the kids ready to return to college or to school. And that's okay because when the news is light, it gives me the opportunity to talk a little bit about some other things. In fact, today, I'm going to be talking about Jersey fresh tomatoes. Offering up as well a delicious recipe in which to use them, but I'll save that for the end. But first up, just a quick reminder that the New Jersey Department of Motor Vehicles mobile unit will be in town on Tuesday, August 29th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, it's always located outside of the community center down by the Little League field on Riverside Avenue. You can't miss it. It's usually here 4 times per year, and it's an excellent convenience for anyone who does not have the time nor the patience to wait online in motor vehicles. So also remember that senior citizens are given priority. So that's important that you know that, especially for seniors who have a difficult time getting to motor vehicle. Go on down to Riverside Avenue with all of your motor vehicle needs. In other news, the Sons of the American Legion Squadron 139 will have its annual golf outing on Friday, August 25th, at Farmstead Golf and Country Club in Lafayette, New Jersey. The annual outing, which is always the last Friday in August, is named after Brian St. Ledger, who originally organized the annual outing before passing away 2 years ago. The tournament raises a large sum of money, which helps to fund the many scholarships which are awarded every year to graduating seniors who live in Lyndhurst. The cost per player is $125, and if you would like to sponsor a hole, the cost is $100. Checks can be made payable to the American Legion, Post 139. And for more information, you could either stop down at the Legion Post every afternoon, there's always people there, or you can call them at 201-933-4120. Okay, now I have some great news to report about one of our residents. Laura Checky of Orient Way has been nominated for membership in the world-famous Explorers Club. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the Explorers Club, here is some history on this very exclusive organization. The club is an American-based international multidisciplinary professional society with the goal of promoting scientific exploration and field study. That's a mouthful. The club was founded in New York City in 1904 and has served as a meeting place for explorers and scientists worldwide. Some of the more famous members have included Teddy Roosevelt and Jacques Cousteau, and those are names that everybody would be familiar with. So Laura is the president and director of education for Interstellar Inspirations, LLC. She is a science education and public outreach specialist and an effective motivational speaker. She's a noted expert on the public understanding of science and on accessible programming and has advised various organizations, including NASA, on the principles of universal design and establishing inclusive environments. Laura strives to improve the scientific literacy of everyone that she encounters and enjoys illuminating the wonders of science to audiences, everyone from grades kindergarten through whenever, through her inclusive programming. Now, Laura is currently employed as the Environmental Specialist of Educational Programs and the Deputy Clean Communities Coordinator for the Department of Health Services for the County of Bergen. And she's been a volunteer at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City and serves as an Earth and Space explainer, as well as the speaker concierge for the AMNH's annual Isaac Asimov debate and monthly Frontiers lectures. Now, as if that were not enough, she's also been a volunteer with the NASA JPL Solar System Ambassadors Program since 2003. So she has a very extensive resume. I could keep going, but I think that certainly tells us enough. But we'd like to congratulate Laura as you take a seat at the Explorers table and add your name to the many worldwide and world-famous explorers. Congratulations, Laura. It's great to have somebody like you in our township, and thank you for all that you do. You show up at everything, and you're always there to teach, especially among the children. Now, I wanted to report to you all about various questions that many have been posting on Facebook regarding several properties around town and what, if anything, is going on with them. Because I saw a few questions on some of the message boards and some of the various groups. And the first one being the Lyndhurst Diner, the second one being the old TD Bank on New York Avenue off of Ridge Road, and the third being the property further down on New York Avenue across from the ShopRite. Now, I read multiple theories, many rumors, and I've heard them around town. I think we all have, as well as ideas about what's happening with these properties. So, to find out what's really happening, I did what any person can do. I asked. And yes, all of this is public information. It's important that everybody know that. Anyone can call or visit the construction department to inquire into any applications, permits, etc. on any property within the township. Now, starting with the Lyndhurst Diner, we've all heard every rumor about it that there's going to be a Wawa there, or there's going to be apartments there. Well, the reality is nothing is happening. That's right, zero. There have not been any applications or even ideas submitted to the township regarding the Lyndhurst Diner. In fact, the property is still owned by the Sakalaris family, who owned the Lyndhurst Diner, as well as other diners. It has not been sold, and the family has not said anything regarding selling, developing, or even reopening the diner. So, for the time being, we can put all rumors to bed about our landmark Lyndhurst Diner, that we all love to see that sign when we come over the bridge or when we drive by Riverside Avenue. Now, the second property is the old TD Bank property. Now, in the last several weeks, we began to notice that a construction fence had been installed around the perimeter. Now, that led, of course, people to believe that construction was going to take place. We then noticed that the fence was installed in anticipation of raising the structure. They tore it down, or they're in the process of tearing it down right now. But I can report to you that as of this date, absolutely no applications or building permits have been submitted for this property. Now, the property was sold by the bank to a new owner. However, what the new owner's plans may be, well, nothing has been submitted to the township. So we'll have to wait and see what is going to be submitted there. And when that happens, I will report back on that. Let's see here. Okay, the third property, which is also located on New York Avenue, a little further down from TD Bank, across from ShopRite. Now, they had originally submitted an application for the construction of 17 apartments. In other words, an apartment building with 17 units. However, the application was denied by the planning board due to the fact that New York Avenue is zoned for two-family homes. So the owners of that property are going to have to resubmit an application for two-family homes. And again, I will report back on that whenever a new application is submitted. But that's where we're at right now. So there's nothing. We have nothing new on any of these three properties as of now. We shall see. And as I said, any resident can always call the construction department to inquire of any pending applications or permits, which is I recommend that, because what I notice is that when rumors begin to fester and travel around, all sorts of misinformation, that word, which, it's a buzzword today, but it's true when all you need to do is to pick up the phone or stop in. And just remember that depending upon the type of application, an application is heard by either the Zoning Board of Adjustment or the Planning Board. And these meetings, which occur monthly in the Lyndhurst Town Hall, are open to the public, and any member of the public has the right to ask questions or state objections on any application before it is brought for a vote. Of course, we have zoning laws, and many of those laws, of course, are based in state and then county laws as well. So it's not like they can just vote anything down, but that's why we have zoning. That's why on New York Avenue, an apartment building, well, that just can't go there. Only two families homes. So keep that in mind, folks, and remember, just find out, make a phone call, and we could always put these rumors to bed. So that's about it for the news this week. As I said, it's a light news week, but August is flying by. It'll be Labor Day before we know it. But one of the greatest things to enjoy this month are our world-famous Jersey tomatoes. Yes, I look forward all year to August just for this wonderful gift of nature. There is nothing better than slicing up a fresh Jersey garden-grown tomato, some garden-grown basil, and some of Vinnie Mutz's fresh mutz. I add a little olive oil, maybe some balsamic vinegar. Sometimes I do a balsamic vinegar reduction. And you have one of God's greatest summertime treats. Now, if you don't grow your own tomatoes, or if you don't know someone who does, I highly recommend you get some Jersey tomatoes. You can get them from the farmer's market on Route 17 North in East Rutherford. Now, granted, they are farm-grown, not garden-grown, because garden-grown is always the best, folks. But no matter what, you just cannot beat a Jersey tomato. And by the way, for those of you who know me, you know that I love to cook. It's probably one of my greatest loves in life. I don't so much love cooking for myself. That's boring. There's no fun in that. But I do love to cook for others. Now, I want to share with you a very simple, easy, yet incredibly delicious recipe for Jersey tomatoes. Now, all you got to do is cut them in half, remove the stem section, cut them in half, and place them on a tray, and put them into an oven that's preheated to 425 degrees, maybe 450, somewhere between there. Leave them in for about 45 minutes or until the skin separates from the tomato. Take them out, let them cool, pull off the skins with some tongs. Now take a handful of basil and cut that up. You could use as much basil as you like. That's why I love cooking, folks. Unlike baking, that's an exact science. Cooking is whatever you like. If you like it, cook it. Cook as much as you like, use as much as whatever you like, that's what you do. And I love basil, especially with Jersey tomatoes. Next, or you could already have this going, have your pasta water, boiling water, pot for that, going on the stove, and use the pasta of your choice. Now, I personally love linguine. Now, add salt to the water. I think we all know that. Then, in a separate saute on low heat, add some garlic and olive oil. And I like to add some red pepper flakes, just a hint, because it keeps a little bit of background flavor, but not too much. Whatever you like. You like a lot of heat? Add heat. Now, saute the garlic in the olive oil until the garlic begins to get very slightly brown. And I mean slightly brown. Don't burn it, or you'll have to start over, because burnt garlic is bitter. And Now, to stop the garlic from cooking anymore, even if you're not ready to add anything else, just add a little bit of the water from the pasta pot. That will stop the garlic from cooking. So I put the pasta in the boiling water, and I cook it for about 80% of the suggested cooking time, so it will be al dente, which we all love. At least I do. As the pasta is cooking, add the roasted tomatoes to the saute with the garlic and the olive oil. And you could take, a spatula, a spoon, fork, whatever, and start to crush them down. They will crush very easily because they've already been pre-cooked in the oven. Now, add some of the boiling pasta water to help break the tomatoes down as much as possible. And you could, by the way, turn up the flame at this point. You don't have to worry about burning the garlic at this point. So I put it on about medium to medium high to let them really break down in the water. Now, once the pasta has cooked about 80% of the time, begin to remove the pasta from the water and add it directly to the saute. I don't strain pasta. That's a bad habit people do. I mean, I pull it right out of the water and put it right into whatever sauce I'm making, or as they say in Italian, the condimento. So that allows that, because what happens there is that it begins to absorb. It absorbs all the flavors that are in that saute. So in this case, it absorbs the tomatoes, the basil, and the garlic, and a little bit of the hot pepper. Add a little bit of salt, too. A little bit of salt, not much, but again, do what you want. And then cook it for a few minutes together. And that will then just bring that dish together, and the pasta water that you add from the pasta will thicken because of the starch from the pasta. And it creates this smooth, silky, delicious, incredible dish. Let it sit for a few minutes. Serve it. Now, by the way, I cooked this the other night at the American Legion, and everyone devoured it. It's one of the simplest and easiest recipes, as well as one of the most flavorful dishes you can make this time of the year. Now, as many of you know, you can preserve Jersey tomatoes for the coming months. You can either can them or, put them in jars, or do what I do. I roast them all out. I remove as much water as possible. I put them in Ziploc bags, and I freeze them, because you could always add the water back when you take them out to cook them. That's the greatest way to enjoy them for the coming months. Now, of course, nothing beats a freshly sliced Jersey tomato, but I'll take it in any form that I can. And as we get into the fall, I'll be cooking my mussels marinara at the American Legion, which I usually do on a Friday night once or twice a month. And folks come down in droves because I use a very specific recipe for my marinara, which is made in a way that you would never expect. It's very long, it's a very complicated process, but the results speak for themselves. I cannot take credit for the recipe, as I learned it from a foreign chef who has since passed away. I did, though, adapt it to my liking, and people say that I should jar it and sell it, but that's a whole complicated process. But we'll see. Perhaps I may do so and give it away as Christmas gifts to friends and family. But it is quite a process, and especially if I'm going to do it in any large quantity. Anyway, now that everybody is hungry, that's the news for this week. So go get those tomatoes while you can. And remember, if you have any news from your club, church, organization, schools, or sports, birthdays or anniversaries of note, send an email to LyndhurstCommunityNews@gmail.com. That email address is listed below in the description box. And thank you all for tuning in this week. Remember, we're going to be expanding upon this whole platform with a website. We're going to be doing interviews. We have a Coach Richie Twerrell, Lyndhurst High School football coach, coming up before the end of the month to talk about the coming season. And always remember, a community is not its homes, buildings, or roads. A community is its people. So let us always be kind and neighborly to everyone and continue to keep Lyndhurst the wonderful community it always has been. See you next week, folks.